Welcome to Oddball. The playoffs are over. The season is over. A champion has been crowned. Oklahoma City Thunder. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you, Amin, for getting it right the whole time. I think it's one of your favorite things to be in the world is correct, right? So why don't you take a little bit of a lap here and accept all the praise?
I would love to. I would love to make this entire episode about how right I was. But Izzy, unfortunately, this is one of the rare moments where there is a story that's bigger than who won Game 7 of an NBA Finals. And it is, of course, the injury of Tyrese Haliburton. He went down with 7:05 left 7:05 minutes into the game. He had 9 points. He was 3 of 4 from 3. It looked like he was well on his way to having a monster Game 7, a legacy cementing Game 7. And instead, he went down with a ruptured Achilles. It has been confirmed this morning. The MRI results have come out. And that incredible playoff run by the Pacers and by Haliburton is cut short in the biggest moment on the biggest stage. Izzy.
First of all, Amin, didn't need an MRI. They showed that you were at the game, but they showed that replay so many damn times where you could see the ligament popping, his whole calf jiggling there. I think they showed it probably 5 too many times. And I think everybody knew at the moment what it was.
True story. I didn't see the replay until I was on the bus leaving the arena. I didn't, because I just doing stuff. I never got around to it. And on the bus, they had ESPN playing and they played SportsCenter. And sure enough, you can see the ripple in the back of his leg as he tries to push off on it. But obviously the context clues were all there. The way it was a non-contact injury, the way he fell down, the way his whole team reacted, the way he reacted, him being carried off the floor with a towel over his head. And then obviously, his father then confirmed at some point that it was.
When he was slamming the floor saying, no, I think, we all knew the risk going in, and I think he knew the result there. I think I'm just going to get this out of the way, okay? Because I know you don't agree with me here. It's going to take some set of you-know-whats for somebody to finally sit their star when they have a calf injury, regardless of the situation, regardless of what round of the playoffs you are, with very few exceptions. Like if you are an aging veteran, this might be my last time here. I still don't have a championship. I'm going to fight through this thing. Okay. But it feels like after we saw Kevin Durant, after we saw Damian Lillard, I don't think Jason Tatum had lingering calf pain, but we've seen it enough times where you've got to have at least the conversation and really seriously talk about it, because the Indiana Pacers would have had a great season, whether they lost Game 6 or Game 7. Didn't matter. Great season, made it to the finals. Next season, maybe we can improve. Maybe we can get better, get back. I know the idea, you might not ever get back. But the compromise being a full season out and maybe never getting back to that player that you were, I think that there should have been at least a discussion of, hey, Hali, we might not play you. We might give you the Willis Reed couple of minutes and that's it. Get you out of there because we're thinking next year and we're thinking we might be better off without you. Everything that I said right there was all of a sudden erased when you hit those 3 threes. I was like, ooh, maybe he could do that instead.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you really can't predict this stuff. I know people like to do the A to B of, he had a calf strain and then he ruptured his Achilles. It doesn't work like that specifically. And the reality is the decision is made in conjunction between the medical staff who have to clear him, right? If he's redlining, they're not going to clear him. Right. I can't speak for every medical staff. I know when I was in Phoenix in the Suns front office, Dr. Tom Carter was our orthopedic surgeon on staff, and he was really clear. I mean, there was a time where there was a kid in the draft who had a medical issue, a cardiac issue that came up in the pre-draft. But he was really good. We really liked him. We thought he could fit, whatever. And so on draft day, we called Dr. Carter in to ask him about someone completely different. And he literally just comes in like, look, if you draft the kid, he might drop dead in summer league. Like he was like basically being as blunt as possible with a group of people who are trying to find any loophole, any wiggle room, any ray of sunlight. Well, what if this happened? It also reminds me of Chris Bosh. If you remember Chris Bosh, when he had his blood clots and he was searching for someone to give him an opinion. Yeah. To say, no, he's cool. He's all right to play. And how many doctors said, no, dude, I can't do that. So I trust the doctors that they wouldn't play fast and loose with Tyrese's help.
But have you ever been, and that doctor ever been the team doctor for a team that's in Game 6 of the NBA Finals?
No, not well. Maybe he was when the Suns played the Bucks. I don't know if he was still there. But my point is, you trust the medical staff to give you the medical answer. Now, that includes all the risks that are involved. And then it's on the player and the coaches to kind of mitigate all those risks and figure out what's doable, what's not doable. And it sounds like they did that. And it sounds like it ended up not working the right way. And that's not to say that in every scenario that he was going to play in Game 7, that would have happened, just like it didn't happen in Game 6, right? Yeah. So I know what you're saying. But I think when you have a doctor who says, yeah, like it's not advisable, but it's definitely not banned, at that point, it's really hard to tell a competitor and a player, and also a competitor in the coaching staff and a competitor in the front office that, hey, we're going to play it safe. At Game 7 of the finals?
Yeah, that's going to be because the alternative being if he doesn't play and they sit out and he sits out and they lose and he's saying, hey, at least I'm here next year. Everybody else is calling him soft and saying he didn't try it. I get it. So let's talk about what actually did happen instead of the what ifs. And when he did go out, it did seem to affect the Pacers. It absolutely affected Obi Toppin because he said this after the game about the experience after Ty went down.
We need a Ty out there, and he's been good for us all year. And for him to go down, getting a game like that, it's like it sucked the soul out of us. I ain't gonna say out of everybody, but I don't want to feel like I played good because I was thinking about it the whole day, and I felt like it was my fault. So, yeah.
So he had 0 points. So, yeah, I wouldn't say if you could be affected by that. He seemed to have been affected by that. But if you look at the whole team, you would say a lot of people were, because you look at Aaron Nesmith and Obi Toppin, they combined for 9 points. That was plus the 0 of, Aaron Nesmith and Miles Turner combined for 9 points, plus the 0 from Toppin. That's 9 points. That's what Haliburton had in his 7 minutes. So I do wonder, though, did you expect more from Rick Carlisle? Maybe a little bit more variety in the offense, because I'm thinking at least give me one elevator doors play for Aaron Nesmith, something out of the old playbook, because it was nothing. It was more of the same stuff, except it was without Ty.
Yeah, first I want to acknowledge Obi Toppin. What he said there was an incredibly vulnerable statement that I think most athletes and people are trained not to be vulnerable like that, is to say no excuses, da da da. And he's saying to you, no, one of my good friends and our leader crumpled with not like a sprained ankle or something, like a devastating injury, and it me up in my head, and I was in my emotions as a result. I respect the hell out of him for admitting that and saying that out loud. As far as what you're saying, I agree 100%. I thought the Pacers, even in the first half where they kept it close, indeed, they ended the first half up 1, but it was a lot of kind of like TJ McConnell or Andrew Nembhard, just dribble and figure something out. In the second half, when they made their little run, it was Benedict Mathurin, go nuts, be an offensive supernova. But it didn't seem like they were running a whole lot of stuff. Definitely not for Aaron Nesmith, which, given his great 3-point shooting, I would love to have seen something like that. But Izzy, what about the Eastern Conference Finals MVP?
Right.
Pascal Siakam, he was a ghost out there.
I would say with Pascal, I was saying to myself the entire third quarter when he was sitting, why isn't he playing the whole second half? We saw what Tyrese just gambled. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So it's tough. It's a tough hand to be dealt. And again, I gotta say, like maybe the coaches felt shell shocked. Dude, no one. It's not just what are we gonna do without our leader? It's exactly what you talked about. It's like he's got a gap year now, and like did we make the wrong decision? Did we ruin this guy's life by pushing it? I gotta assume that there's some human emotion and they're not computers that just say, okay, he's off the board, XYZ, 1, 2, 3, poo, poo, poo. We want like
the only time we're going to learn if we learned from this is the next time somebody's in the finals with a cap straight.
We'll never learn. All right, let's get to the Thunder. And of course, they are the champs. SGA was incredible. 29 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds, a steal and a block. He is finals MVP. He's one of 4 players to win MVP scoring title and finals MVP all in the same season. Well, Kareem didn't have a finals MVP because I don't think they existed back then, but those other 3 guys certainly do. And I got to give kudos to him. The team talked about it. They felt like on the offense in Game 6 the ball was a little too sticky, which doesn't mean something nasty. It means like
it doesn't mean they didn't wipe it off when it rolled over some alcoholic beverages.
Yeah, it means it's like they're not moving the ball, right? Yeah. It's a lot of ISO, it's a lot of pounding into the floor. And SGA adjusted and had one of his best games, really, of his career as a passer. Izzy, how do you feel about his performance?
It was impressive because I went into the game knowing there would be a bunch of poor shooting percentages. Why? Because it's game 7 of the NBA Finals. It just happens. Like, go back and look at Kobe's shooting percentages in his game 7. Not good. And so I thought not only was that going to happen, right? But was he going to adjust to the Pacers defense, the hands on that defense? And now everybody was talking about in the same level as your defense. And he did exactly that. He was like, oh, okay, you guys want to, nope, this is not the time for you to collapse on me. I'm not playing hero ball in the most important game of our season. I'm going to dish it out. And, those guys start making those shots. Why wouldn't you continue to do that? I thought he looked like a guy who had taken inventory and downloaded all the information of what was going on in this series, kind of knew what was coming, and then did it. Even the 12 3 attempts, even though he was 2 of 12, that was as many threes as he's attempted in the last 4 games combined. Mm-hmm. But hey, offensive rebound, we're going to be good there. They ended up with 13 offensive rebounds, sort of spread across the board. I thought he did exactly what he needed to do. Could he have made a couple of more shots? Great. It would have been a 30-point win, but I thought he was perfect.
Yeah, and the learning as they went along thing wasn't just limited to the basketball. It happened afterwards because Izzy learned in the post game that the majority of the team don't know how to open a champagne bottle, and that Alex Caruso had to give a tutorial. And in the process of the tutorial, like a couple of guys blew their champagne bottles too early, and it was supposed to be a coordinated thing. And
common problem for young people.
Yeah. Shout out to, by the way, Jalen Williams, who did his post-game press conference drunk and said, I just had my first drink, so I'm still working on that. He lost his train of thought midway through. He gave a really thoughtful answer about coming from a God-fearing household and all that. And then he said, but then I had alcohol. And then finally, we have a video of Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, having his first beer, a Michelob Ultra, or as Jay Holmgren calls it, a Michelob Ultra.
Chet not knowing how to pronounce Michelob is great. But the funny thing about this Jalen Williams not liking beer, hated it so much. That wasn't his first sip of alcohol, because after that, you could hear him say, where's the tequila? Like, really? Tequila tastes better for you than Michelob Ultra? I think we need to taste those test buds.
Well, I guess he's not getting asked to do an ad with Jimmy Butler next year.
No. Is Jimmy Butler going to be asked to do anything? Even Cheez-Its might not ask Jimmy Butler back, but we'll see.
For shame.
It is the time for the Iciest play of the week, brought to you by Jägermeister. Serve it cold or don't serve it at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold. For more, visit Jägermeister.com. Drink responsibly. Here's a picture of our Iciest play. Let's take a second. Just look at, scan it left to right, up and down.
Let's go full screen,
yeah. What's missing here?
Well, okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Thunder players. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Pacer players. I see 1, 2, 3 refs. I see
a bunch of fans who don't like making decisions, so they let the Oklahoma City Thunder decide what they wear.
Yeah.
We don't see the basketball.
Where the
hell is the basketball?
Is this like a dead ball? No, they look like they're playing.
No.
There's nobody on the sidelines. Everyone's in the middle of the court. Where's the ball, Izzy?
It's falling from the roof, apparently, because Lou Dort, famously of the Dortcher Chamber, takes the highest arcing shot in the world, I would say, probably. Yes. And I joked that the Dortcher Chamber is that time between release and splash, because you just takes forever and you have no idea if he's going to make this big shot. But this was probably the best indication of it. Not only was this a literally high shot, but it was a big shot. Like, things started going the other way after this.
It touched the Nick Collison retired jersey up in the rafters before dropping down.
Yes.
Like, Nick Collison was like the 6th man, except he's not dead. He's with us.
Congratulations, still. Lou, for being the final Iciest play of the season. Congratulations. Way to get that ball up there.
Damn, that's cold. All right, it's time for another edition of Headlines, where we take you to some of the biggest headlines in the NBA today. Headlines is presented by Remy Martin 1738 Accord Royal. Exceptionally smooth cognac for all your game day festivities. Please drink responsibly. And those cognac levels are dropping, ladies and gentlemen.
I marked it right here.
Where?
It's the same. Just don't have to look at it. Just don't have to look at it.
Where? Get us started, Izzy.
All right. Well, I think we all know Kevin Durant get traded, but here's a headline. The Miami Heat missed out on Kevin Durant for a fourth time after 80-year-old Pat Riley reportedly wouldn't include Nikola Jovic in the deal. Another report says Riley didn't include Nikola Jovic because he thought his team had Nikola Jokic. And to be fair, it is only one letter off. Okay.
Yeah, hold on, man.
Not that unrealistic.
That's not nice, man. Is that a dementia joke? Is that what you're running with?
It's a headline. We're moving on. Let's go, Amin. Your turn.
All right. The Oklahoma City Thunder guard Jalen Williams revealed post-game that he had his first drink of alcohol after winning the title. What a coincidence. Because I had my first drink of alcohol shortly after they won the title also, but just of that night. You know what it was?
Your first sip of alcohol this hour.
There you go. It was Remy Martin, 1738, a Court Royal, drink responsibly.
Whew. All right. Is it my turn again? All right. Headline number 2. Oh, it's still about the Miami Heat and Pat Riley. Okay. After missing out on Durant, Pat Riley and the Heat are said to be pivoting to DeMar DeRozan from Sacramento. So Heat fans, get ready for, well, probably Kevin Huerter, because you're not going to get DeMar DeRozan either. I mean, come on, Kevin Miami Heat. What are we doing?
Let me sell you on this. Kevin Huerter, big Dwayne Wade fan. Big Dwayne Wade. He grew up. That was his favorite player. So
I think we're done with that because you know who else was a big Dwayne Wade fan? Terry Rozier. I think he forgot how to play when he got to Miami. So I don't know if we're doing that.
All right. The Milwaukee Bucks' Pat Connaughton picked up his $9.4 million player option 3 days ahead of the deadline to do so, which was June 24th. And to that, I say, Pat, it took you that long to figure out maybe I should pick up this option. Let's see. Let me weigh my options, see what's happening out there. You know what? Let's kill the intrigue.
He didn't even joke and wait till the last day. He was like, given 3 days left. Of course, just make sure, just in case there's a little blip.
Pat, $9.4 million. As soon as the season was over, you should have picked that shit up.
And actually,
you know how much I would have stressed about like forgetting or like my phone not working that day.
Oh, it's the Anthony Carter situation. It's why the Miami Heat have their first championship. Let's tell you this little story. Anthony Carter, like Pat Connaughton, had an option on his contract, and it would have put the Heat in a position where they wouldn't have had much room to operate via free agency. And it just so happened that Anthony Carter's agent forgot to send them the message to opt into their deal, which all of a sudden gave the team enough room to pursue Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom has a great season. Caron Butler has a great season. Brian Grant has a great season. What does Miami Heat do? Wrap that up, send it to go, bring me back Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal and Dwayne had one season, get to the conference finals, really only lose to the Pistons because Dwayne Wade's rib is injured. Next year, win a championship. Wow, Miami finally won a championship.
And who was finals MVP?
Dwayne Wade.
And somewhere, a little boy named Kevin Huerter was like, I want to be him when I grow up.
And you fast forward that, well, that championship is the reason LeBron wanted to come to Miami because he wanted to learn how to win a championship. So that was those 2 championships. Oh, those are LeBron's first 2 championships. So now he's got 4, possibly the GOAT. So maybe the reason he's the GOAT is because Anthony Carter's agent forgot to send in his player option that year.
And Anthony Carter crawled so that Alex Caruso could walk one day.
Can I further the conspiracy theory here that maybe that was done on purpose? Because I don't think Anthony Carter has missed out on having a job since. Like that dude is going to be set for life.
Again, this goes back to my how did they get Beno Udrih to just say, yeah, you can keep some of that money.
Yeah.
We'll never get to the bottom of
promises.
Yeah.
That's it for Oddball.